how did you feel when you scored a touchdown for Ashton's football team?
Okay, so we thought it might be fun for Landon to do his own Q&A. So we asked all of you to give us all of your questions, anything that you might want to ask Landon, because we wanted to give him an opportunity to talk a little bit about what it's like to have cerebral palsy, what it's like to have some things that are challenging in life, and to give him a voice if there's anything that he wanted to kind of talk about, and give you guys a chance to ask him questions about it. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of awareness for cerebral palsy. I know that there's a lot of people out there that have it, and so for us to be able to bring awareness so that people can understand it better, I think is a really great thing. So
It's not a microphone, it's a pound.
I'm so proud of cute Landon for being so brave. He's just a little leader, and this kind of stuff doesn't even faze him.
So you guys, there were about, I would say 50 to 60 plus questions here, so we're not going to get to all of them, but we're just kind of scroll through, kind of pull out the ones we feel like Landon would want to address, and kind of just let him talk. Lindsay and I will kind of pipe in a little bit as well, because, you know, we're all part of this journey together. So, you ready, buddy? All right, let's do it. This first question says, Lando, can you feel your feet? Because my brother can't, and he has cerebral palsy too. In other words, can you feel this?
Yes.
Am I tickling your feet?
No!
Yes.
So to elaborate a little bit on that, there's actually a very big spectrum with cerebral palsy. I don't think any two children are the same. There's so many different ways that you can be affected. Because it's a brain injury, it can affect different parts of your brain. So it can affect your cognitive ability, it can affect your legs, it can affect your arms, it can affect your speech, it can affect your ability to eat. Some people have pain, some people have seizures. So there's actually a lot of different ways that cerebral palsy can come out depending on the child. So.
All right, buddy, the next question is, have you ever been to speech therapy?
No.
No. Guys, Landon actually has a phenomenal vocabulary, as you can tell. He's very advanced in his speech. So no, he has never been to speech therapy.
So we always tease that cute Landon could speak well beyond his years. He was 18 months old and he could say the word encyclopedia. This boy...
What did I say?
Encyclopedia at 18 months old.
What did I say? Encyclopedia.
What for? You just, I don't even know how you learned the word.
Well, you repeated it for us.
The follow-on question to that is, have you been to any other therapies? And yes, so there's a really cool video which I'll link above. It's kind of the day in the life of Landon at physical therapy, which he does quite often, which I think many of you know that, but if not, you're gonna wanna definitely check that video out. But he does a lot of just physical therapy. It's one of the main therapies he does. What's the other one you do?
Oh, vision therapy.
Vision therapy. So he and Ashton actually both do vision therapy, and they do it pretty consistently, I would say daily, right?
He actually also does occupational therapy at school, where they help him with his handwriting and his fine motor skills. So
That's a lot of therapies.
He's a hard little worker.
Oh wait, here's a funny one. I'm just wondering why he has two different color shoes.
Because my brother told me, and my brother came up with that.
Which brother?
Turin.
Little story behind this. I was taking the kids shoe shopping, and I was feeling kind of guilty because Turin and Ashton both wanted to pick out some Vans, and Landon can wear Vans, you know, the part of the day that he's not in his braces, but most of the day he's in his braces, and Vans won't work really well over a pair of braces. So I said to him, why don't you pick out two different colors of Nikes so that you can switch off and you can have two different pairs of shoes that you can switch off wearing with your braces. So next thing we know, we get home, and instead of choosing between blue for his first day or red for his first day, he decided to wear one of each. Turin's idea, and it's kind of just become his thing. In fact, we're thinking we've got to start a fashion trend with this.
Okay, so here's a really cute one. Does your brother help you at school?
Yes, he does. If I have trouble getting upstairs, he always helps me.
There is a really cute video, actually, of Ashton helping sweet little Landon here on a slide, which again, I'll link above. You'll have to check that out. But Ashton is honestly the best supportive little brother, very protective of Landon. No doubt they were sent here together. Ashton is definitely his little guardian angel, I think, here on Earth.
And I think Landon's the same thing for Ashton. I think there's a yawn.
We boring you there, bud?
I think they needed each other, because I think Landon's there for Ashton too. In fact, speaking of that, they were in class together in kindergarten and in first grade, all through preschool. We separated them starting in second grade because they're so incredibly sweet and kind to each other that they worry so much about taking care of the other person that we felt like it would be awesome for them to be able to be in their own classrooms and be able to just be themselves. They still see each other at lunch, they still see each other at recess, but it's been kind of an awesome thing. I love how much they love each other.
So Landon, here's kind of a cool one. This is not a question, but this is from a girl, Melissa. She says, I have CP and seizures. I'm in a wheelchair and I've been without seizures for 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
so
huge.
A lot of you guys have commented here and have been able to relate to our life here in Holland a little bit with either you yourself are experiencing a different path in life or you know somebody that is. And so that's been really cool to have you guys share those, and honestly we share them every time we see those comments. We share them with Landon because again we love to be able to learn about other stories, and so does he, because it helps him feel. How does it help you feel when you learn about those things?
Happy.
Yeah? Is it comforting sometimes to know that there's other people out there too that maybe deal with some things that you have to deal with?
Yeah. I think it's really easy to feel alone and to feel like we're the only person that goes through something. So I remind him all the time. I say, Landon, even if it's not cerebral palsy, people go through hard things. Everybody has hard things in life.
Here's another one that says, I have cerebral palsy too. Go Landon, you can do this and never give up. That is from Elizabeth. Yeah.
Very nice.
Ooh, here's a cool one. Lana, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a pilot.
Ooh, that's a cool one.
Yeah. Lana, this question says, what do you feel like is the most challenging thing you deal with on a day-to-day basis? Is there anything that you can think of?
Sometimes I struggle with basketball and I can't shoot very well.
Yeah, but you're getting way better at it. I've seen you outside practicing.
Yeah. I also practice at school.
Yeah, in fact, Landon has become quite the little busybody at recess, where he is now often found on the basketball court, hooping it up like LeBron James.
I've also heard that he likes to be the referee during some of the sports games.
Sounds like Mom, just in our home.
Oh my gosh, I would gladly let someone take my place. So can you think of anything else that's kind of frustrating during the day?
Probably my writing. I need to work on writing. I'm not very good at it.
Oh yeah, so writing. Writing is a little bit of a struggle. We talked about how he does occupational therapy to help with his fine motor. Writing has been a little bit challenging for him, but I'm so proud of him because I think it would have been easy for him to just say, I don't want to try anymore, and he hasn't given up. Back when Justin had a birthday back in October, we had a video where he wrote a birthday poster for Justin, and it was the first time.
Oh, when you were in Zion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And it was the first time that I was ever able to honestly read what he wrote, and I was so incredibly proud of him. It was such a huge milestone. He's worked so hard on his handwriting, and he's doing so awesome, huh? But writing can be frustrating. It's hard sometimes when he's given a test for him to be able to write as quickly as he needs to.
I got 100% on like 5 spelling tests.
He actually is very, very, very smart in school, but when it comes to being able to keep up with the writing, he has a harder time. So sometimes he has helpers that help with his writing, and other times he practices handwriting, so there's kind of a balance at school.
Yeah.
So what is the hardest thing about having cerebral palsy?
That is a good question. I think it's probably that I need help with a lot of things or something. So sometimes I don't like to have help, but my mom has helped me anyway.
I thought he answered that question perfectly. I think there's times where this is my favorite thing about Landon. In fact, it kind of made me teary as I heard him say that, because he just has this fighting little spirit about him, and he just fights to just do his very best at everything he does, and he doesn't let cerebral palsy define him. He doesn't let it give him an excuse. He just conquers everything he can, and there's times where I've had to give him a little bit of help out of protecting him and trying to keep him safe, and it's been frustrating for him. He just wants to be like everybody else. So to give you an example, jumping off of the ledge of a pool is a skill that he gained in the last couple of years. It took him a little bit longer to learn how to jump, with 2 feet. And I was so proud of him, and he did such a good job. But every once in a while when he jumped in the pool, he would rotate a little bit and get this close to hitting his head on the wall. And so I said, you know what, Landon, I'm not going to help you jump. I'm not going to get in your way. I'm just going to be here just in case. I'm just going to put my hand here to spot you. And it just kind of was frustrating for him because he didn't want any help.
I don't think that's a quality that has to do with things that he struggles with. Personally, I think that it's just
who he is.
So I think it's a quality that, somebody who's just bound and determined to succeed in life. So, the fact that he doesn't want help, I think, is a good characteristic of somebody who just is driven.
Amen. It is 100% the reason why Landon has has seen the success that he's seen in his life. He's been through 22 sessions of physical therapy, and that's all because of his determination and willpower. It says a lot about who he is, because he's the one that shows up. He's the one that puts the work in, and he's the one that pushes himself.
All right, next question. What is your favorite part about therapy?
There's lots of fun stuff. Probably jumping.
Jumping?
And again, guys, link above for kind of the day in life of Landon at his therapy.
Ooh, jumping in the bungee.
That thing, the
spider
bungee cage?
Yeah.
Okay, what about flying?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
He only flies with Nicole, and he loves that. What about karaoke?
You're not shy at all. You're the most social person I've ever met in my life.
Sometimes you get a little shy, but
So,
what about karaoke during the standard time?
Theirs is broken, but I used to use it.
But now you have a new singing machine though, because you were in the news.
Yeah.
And what about the fact that you're like pretty much best friends with everybody there, so it's kind of like a party with all your friends?
Yeah. My favorite friend in LICAN is poor. He can't talk or he can't walk, so he's put in a wheelchair.
But you know what, Lando? You've made so many friends, volunteers, physical therapists, and patients, huh?
Okay, so the next question is, how is Landon so positive?
I don't really know the answer to that question, but
It's just kind of who he is. He definitely has his days where he's frustrated, but yeah, I think you guys have seen just really who Landon is. He's just positive.
yeah, I'm always positive.
I don't know. I also think, though, from the beginning that we've never treated it like it's been sad or that it's been, a terrible thing, and that we've always tried to put our best foot forward, and I just think that that's kind of what we've tried to carry through. But having said that, he's the one that has to go do all of the hard stuff, and he does it with a smile on his face, and that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, I always have a smile on my face. Like, this vice principal at my school always says, keep having a smile on your face.
He does?
Yeah.
So here's an interesting question. How does Landon feel about being labeled as having cerebral palsy? Does it affect him? I kind of just want to address that because, we don't have that label. We don't use it as a label. It's merely just a condition, but by all means doesn't define him. I think it helps people understand the condition or the diagnosis that he has, but by all means, it is not a label that we throw around as far as defining who he is. I mean, he's just Landon. He has a condition that requires him to work harder and to go through certain things that someone without that condition doesn't have to deal with. But by all means, I don't believe it's a negative label. It's just a diagnosis.
And like you said, it helps people understand him
Yeah.
because, I think sometimes people have the misconception that if somebody walks differently, that they also, are cognitively impaired or vice versa. And like I said, it just really varies. There's a big spectrum. And for Landon, he does walk differently, but he cognitively is very, very bright and is actually very, very smart in school. And so I think sometimes people misunderstand that until they get to know him. The second they talk to him, they understand that very clearly, that he's very, very smart.
All right, Landon, what grade are you in? That was the next
Third.
question. Third? I told somebody you were in second the other day. Oops.
No, you didn't.
I really did.
No, you didn't.
I really did. So, Landon, this is a really great question. This is, how did you feel when you scored a touchdown for Ashton's football team?
Really happy.
Guys, we're going to link that video above. You have to see that touchdown. It was amazing.
If that video doesn't make you cry, you don't have feelings.
Like, the guy passed to me, and then, the guy passed to me, and the green guy was diving. They were playing against the green team, and the green guy was diving, and I was running too fast. He couldn't even catch me, and I scored a touchdown.
It was your first touchdown ever, right?
Yeah, because in the last few games I played, I didn't score a touchdown.
Yep.
And in the last game, I scored a touchdown.
It was incredible. Oh, here's kind of a cute one. Oh. It was Stephanie that asked it. Stephanie.
My sister.
Is having an aunt like Aunt Stephanie the best thing ever?
To answer that, yes.
Yeah, there you go, Steph.
Oh, that's the cutest.
Here's a cool one. You inspired me to never give up. That's what someone just said about you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Landon, you get a lot of those comments actually, pal.
So thank you to all of you who say such kind things to Landon. We so appreciate your kindness. You guys say things like that all the time, and it just means the world. It keeps him going. It just sends a lot of positive energy for this little boy.
Landon, here's another cute one. She says, love you guys so much. P.S. I will start wearing mismatched shoes.
What?
Okay, what's her name?
Fashion trend, Allison Peterson.
Will you send us a picture on Instagram, or I don't know if you can send it on YouTube, but will you send us a picture of you wearing mismatched shoes?
DM us on Instagram
I
for
would
sure.
love to see that.
We're starting that trend.
So last year was a really difficult year, and we've always been really protective of his story, just wanting him to be able to just be Landon and to not be defined by his diagnosis of cerebral palsy. We've just wanted him to be able to live as normal of a life as possible. This last year was a really difficult year, and I just kept getting the feeling like we needed to share our story, that I personally kept getting the feeling that if I could be brave, that Landon would be able to share his light with the world, and there's no question that he has so much light and so much to share with the world. And so I decided to take that leap of faith and to be brave in order for him to share his story. So doing this Q&A is just kind of the beginning of that, because I believe that someday Landon will be a motivational speaker, because there's no question that he goes through really, really difficult things that the rest of us can't relate to, and that sometimes I as a mom don't even understand it. I don't even totally grasp all that he does.
It's not true.
It is true, Landon.
No, it isn't.
It is. It really is. You do really hard things that the rest of us don't. And that's inspiring, and that's amazing, and you do it with a smile on your face. And you know what? That makes the rest of us want to be better.
That's pretty cool, pal. You inspire a lot of people. And you're only 8. How amazing is that?
So funny.
So when you talk about what you want to be when you're older, you'll probably be a pilot, but I think you'll also be a motivational speaker.
Thanks for the questions, guys. Very thoughtful of you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Perfect.